Hello, my name is Krista Capelli. I'm a graduate athletic training student at California University of Pennsylvania. Today I'll be discussing the National Academy of Sports Medicine's Optimum Performance Training Model, or OPT model. The OPT model is a concept that applies to all forms of training in an integrated fashion, including flexibility, cardiorespiratory, core, plyometric training, speed agility quickness training, and integrated resistance training. The OPT model is divided into three different levels, including stabilization, strength, and power, and each level is then subdivided into 5 phases. Each phase proceeds on to the next based on the athlete's ability. It is a systematic method that can be used to minimize the risk of injury and maximize the athlete's overall performance. The first stage of stabilization is the most crucial phase in the OPT model. It improves muscle imbalances, improves stabilization of the core, prevents tissue overload, improves overall cardiorespiratory and neuromuscular efficiency, and establishes proper movement patterns and exercise techniques. The second level of strength focuses on increasing core musculature, load-bearing capabilities, volume of training, metabolic demand, and increase in motor unit recruitment, frequency of motor unit recruitment, and maximal strength. The final stage is power training, which is designed to increase the rate of force production. This form of training uses both stability and strength in the previous phases of training. It applies more realistic speeds and forces that the body will most likely encounter in their sport. The OPT program has been extremely successful in helping professional athletes in the NFL, MLB, NHL, MLS, and Olympics, as well as college, high school, and recreational athletes to achieve optimum results. Using an effective selection of appropriate exercises, every athlete will benefit through different adaptations within the body, as well as reduction of sustaining injury. It is an organized system in that long and short-term goals are established prior to training, and the athlete and coaches can see how and when the athlete will progress. The biggest issue many seem to face with this system is the amount of time it takes. Most coaches and athletes want to see progress, and they want to see it now. Unfortunately, the body doesn't make changes overnight. The best solution is to have the athletes start the program as soon as possible. Many coaches tend to redshirt most of their freshman athletes anyway, unless they are all performing exceedingly well. So why not start them on performance enhancement training during their first year in high school or college? The other issue is high school students are in school from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. the latest, along with 2 extra hours of sleep. That comes down to 11 hours a day, 5 days a week. College students vary class times at all hours of the day, along with excessive amounts of time on homework and working part-time jobs. Coaches and student athletes don't have enough hours in the day to work on these types of things. However, that doesn't mean that both high school and college students can't find time during their off-season or during school breaks. Something to keep in mind as well is some athletes may develop quicker than others, so although they may do the same workout on the same day at the same intensity, everyone adapts to stresses on the body at different rates. The best program is the one that gets done and the one that works best for you and your team. Another issue many coaches worry about is the equipment that is available. This program requires some stabilization equipment, pull-down machines, leg presses, plyometric boxes, and more. Some high schools can't afford to have strength and conditioning facilities. So what do? This is where you have to start being creative. Instead of using Bosu ball for balance, use a pillow. If you don't have a foam roller for flexibility training, use a rolling pin from the kitchen or a PVC pipe. You may actually need to invent something that will apply to the exercises you are trying to perform. When you start thinking of other methods of equipment use, you may actually be saving yourself more money in the long run. When considering the OPT model for training purposes, it can be extremely useful in preventing injuries. The body needs that stabilization to improve balance to catch oneself from falling. It needs the strength in the muscles surrounding the joint for support, and it needs both stabilization and strength combined to function correctly, even with activities of daily living, including walking and standing. If an athlete should ever be injured, it would result in more loss of time not training for their sport. The OPT model can reduce the chances of that occurring while also improving their overall athletic ability as well. To conclude my presentation, I would highly recommend the OPT model. Its phases of stabilization, strength, and power makes for an overall better athletic performance. It is timely, but it can be done with patience, consistency, and the motivation to succeed. Though the lack of equipment may be a limiting factor, there are other ways to cope with this type of issue simply by using everyday at-home products. Injury prevention is key to any sport, but the OPT model is vital in order to function in everyday living scenarios. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and consider using this method of training for your athletes.